Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Habits, Health, and Happiness. I'm Susie B, and I am the host of this show. I just introduced myself a little bit. I am a personal trainer, and I've turned sort of into a habit coach over the years of realizing that the programming that I use in my physical fitness training with my clients has a far larger capacity to reach every aspect of your life. So by simply forming simple daily habits, you can move forward in your life every single day and see the progress you're making. Be able to focus on the good instead of the lack and the wishing, oh, I wish I was doing this better, or I wish I was doing that better. By focusing on little tiny changes every single day, you can see what you're doing, and then you can motivate yourself from within to do even more, to do even greater things, starting with small things. I started this programming in my personal training with my fitness clients, like I said, and now we've expanded it into forming habits in every aspect of your life. So you can use this practice to change, up level, improve every part of your life. And it starts today. It starts so simple and so small. So each week on this show, I come on here and I give you some habit tips, some habit hacks, some little tiny things that you can do that help you change or improve that aspect of your life. Each month, I'll have a theme or a pillar of life that I will focus on. The month of December was mental health habits. The month of January is the habit of having fun. This is kind of a different one that a lot of people don't think of, but this one is one that I really love in my own life. I focus on this a lot, and I love to be able to find little things that I can do that make me happy continuously and consistently each and every day. So today, we want to talk about a parenting habit. But as I got thinking about it and as I got writing this, I realized this applies to more than just parenting. So even if you're not a parent, this little simple, tiny trick can make a massive difference in your happiness and in your ability to have fun. Are you ready to hear what it is? This simple habit hack is called comic books. And I'm going to get into exactly what those are and how you can use them in your life in just a moment. But first, I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you went on a vacation that made you so happy? When was the last time you went somewhere that was so super fun? Oftentimes we think about traveling as being a really, really fun time, as being an experience that we really look forward to for a long time, and then we remember for a long time after. But sometimes we get caught up in having to remember these trips and remember these fun times in a really stressful way. There's things like scrapbooking, there's things like memory books, there's things like all of that kind of stuff. And to those of you that love that kind of stuff, I say go for it. I say that's awesome. If you know that you love to create amazing memories using scrapbooks and things like that, I say awesome, more power to you. But for most of us, we don't have time for that. And it becomes a source of, oh, I wish I had time for that. But back to the beginning, how I talked about how you don't want to be living on, I wish, I should, I have. I want you to live in the space of I can, and I am, and I have right now. So one way that we can flip this little discrepancy in our mind is to focus on what we are doing and be able to remember these fun times in a truly unique way. Let me talk to you about little kids for a minute. This is why I use this for a parenting hack, because kids are so good at this. We as adults remember the vacation itself, but as we remember it, it becomes like a good fond memory, right? But as kids, if you talk to a kid about a funny story that happened to them, they remember it sometimes even better the second time than it was the first time. They laugh harder at that story the second time you tell it. They watch the same movie 10 times and they love it every single time. Kids have this innate ability to be able to re-enjoy something. I call this letting the good times re-roll. So you let the good times roll means that you experience fun things. But to let the good times re-roll is to get way more mileage out of that same experience. A lot of us get caught up with, especially as parents, a lot of us get caught up with, I have to plan fun things so that my kids will have good memories. And I have to do all this fun stuff so that my kids will have a great childhood. And it becomes a little bit weighty. Sometimes maybe you have a financial struggle. Maybe you can't afford to go on those extravagant vacations, but you get to do one every 5 years or something like that. Maybe you get to just go away for a weekend and just stay at a hotel in your hometown. Maybe that is just your ideal vacation. Perfect. Let me give you a little bit of encouragement here in telling you that the trick or the habit hack called the comic books make all of your little efforts, your small efforts, make a big difference. So here's how you get a lot of mileage out of a little bit of fun. Let's take a really small, simple memory, going to the park. You take your kids to the park and they have fun for 20, 30 minutes, right? And then you go home. Do you remember that going to the park? Probably not. Here's how you let the good times re-roll. When you're at the park, take pictures of your kids. We all have our phones with us all the time, and all of our phones take good pictures. So take pictures of your kids. Take a video of them coming down the slide. Take a video of them telling you about the park. Then, after you get home from the park, or after a couple of weeks of, other things that have come up and you haven't had time to go do more fun things yet, maybe you are wanting to do another fun time at the park, but you don't have time. How do you enjoy the park again without going back to the park? Did you know you could do that? You can. So there's Google Photos, or whatever photo app you use to store your photos, is amazing. And so we use this to we pull it up on our phones and we cast it up onto our TV so the kids can see what's on the phone. And we watch those videos back and we look at those pictures again. And we remember even the simple little things. We just went to the park. It was simple. It was silly. But remembering the fun that they had that day gives them that little boost, that little bit of joy, almost to the same level as actually going to the park. By remembering what you've already done, you can give yourself a boost in the habit of having fun. This can be a habit, and it can be so incredibly simple. Like I said, scrapbooks are amazing. And if you look back through those books, it's really fun and brings back all sorts of fun memories and fun feelings, right? But if you want to keep it super simple, just stick it on your phone and go through your Photos app. That is one of the easiest ways to create memories from memories you've already created. It's fascinating that you can be having good times, remembering good times. And this can become a habit. My kids and I do this all the time. And for a while, we did it every Monday night. And so this became our Monday night ritual. For an hour before bed every night, we would just go through my Google Photos and watch old videos and look through old pictures and just remember hilarious memories that we'd had. Some of these were extravagant vacations. Some of them were just simple times at home. But the fact is that you can remember the good times by keeping it so simple. That's the key. Keep it simple and do it your way. If your way is a really amazing scrapbook, awesome. If your way is a fully edited, cut video strip of one of your kids, awesome. Go for it. For me, it's keeping it simple and letting Google Photos do the work. I just pull that thing up and we scroll through there for a while. It's so fun to remember those good times. But what about the times that you didn't take a picture of? What about the times that weren't necessarily photo worthy, but it was a good story? What about that hilarious thing that your kid said while you were driving in the car the other day? I'll give you an example. I was driving home from the grocery store and we live out in the farms and we always are driving past tractors. And my son, my 4-year-old, loves tractors. And we were driving home and all of a sudden he just goes, "Oh, I love John Deere." He was just so full of appreciation and gratitude for John Deere. He couldn't even keep it in anymore. It was the cutest thing. But it was also just it was just a funny story. And I wanted to remember that. And I knew I wouldn't remember it by just remembering it. So I created, back when my kids were little tiny, when my very first child was about 6 months old, I created what's called the comic books. And I have a Google document, again, very simple. And every time my kids say or do something funny, I pull up that document on my phone and I write it in there. Just 1 or 2 sentences about what just happened or what they said. and then their age, how old they were when they did it, just so that I have a little bit of memory of how little they were and what they had done. So that day I went in my son's comic book and I wrote down age 4 in his book, and I love John Deere, the grand sigh as we passed a tractor. So that is a super simple way to remember silly things, to remember funny things. As I was doing this, I mean, it took me 30 seconds to type that into my phone. And a couple of weeks ago, we pulled those back out, and my kids love to read through these. A lot of times in the car when we're on long drives, they say, hey, let's read from the comic books. So we'll pull the comic books out and we'll read these old stories from when they were little. And they're so funny. Once again, we're laughing about things that we already laughed about. It was funny at the time, but it's just as funny the second time around, third time around, fifth time around, 10th time around. These comic books have endless potential of creating a habit of fun in your life. So this is a habit because the more you do it, the better it is, just like any other habit in your life. If you keep track of one thing about each kid per year, that's fun. But if you're able to just, every time someone says something or does something funny, just throw it in your phone really quick. I do this probably a couple times a week. And anytime I can think about it, anytime I remember, I want to throw these stories into my phone. Now I have pages and pages and pages of these hilarious memories with my kids. So this is a beautiful parenting hack, but also you can use this for anything. You can do this with just yourself. Let's say that you go through an experience that makes you laugh. You have an embarrassing moment, or you just go through a dinner party that is just hilarious and it makes you laugh. Write that down in your comic book. Remember that. Write down that memory in a very simple form so that you can remember that memory. And then weeks down the road, maybe you're having a hard day, maybe you are feeling down. Open that document back up and read that story back to yourself. Experiencing your own embarrassing moments a second time is just as good as your kids experiencing their funny moments a second time. It really is fascinating. Your mind can't tell the difference between experiencing this experience the first time and going through it the second time. The memory is almost to the same level of joy as the experience itself. So I absolutely encourage you to do this. Do this with any relationship in your life. You can do it with your husband. You can do it with your wife. You can do it with your kids. You can do it with yourself. These comic books are so simple, and they're such a fun way to keep a memory. A lot of people struggle to journal, and that's okay. But this is a really easy way to keep a journal that will make you happy. It will make you laugh every time you check back to it, because every story in there was originally funny. So if you are in a point of your life where you need a little bit more joy, where you need a little bit more fun, and this habit of fun sounds like something, you know what, I want this in my life, which should be all of us, right? This is a really simple, fun, easy way to do this. I encourage you to do this today. Open up a document on your phone. Start a new Google Doc and title it Comic Book for whoever you're writing it about. My comic book, if you're doing it with just yourself, or my comic book with whoever. Mine, I give my kid's name and then their comic book after it. I have 4 kids, and then I have another one that we do of family ones. So I have 5 comic books that I keep on a rolling order on my phone, and we always are going through these and either reading them or adding to them. Again, keeping it simple. So let's go back to why this works for me. It works for me because I know that I am not going to make a scrapbook. I know that I am not going to make a fully edited video of every memory with my kids. I just know that I'm not going to do that. And it's not going to be a point of shame for me. It's not going to be a point of guilt for me. It's not going to be something that I beat myself up about, because it's not who I am. And that's okay. That's beautiful. You and I are different, and that is a wonderful thing. So understand who you are, understand what makes you happy, and then find a way to make that happiness happen more often. Have it be a habit. The habit of having fun is very much personalized to you. If you are a major photo taker, awesome. That photos habit that I talked about at the beginning, where you can just take pictures of silly little things that are happening. It doesn't have to be grand events or occasions, just silly little times when you are enjoying yourself. Take pictures of those times. Take videos of yourself talking about those times. Take videos of your family talking about those times. And then don't let those videos just sit. Don't let those pictures just sit in the cloud. Actually get some mileage out of them. Actually use them. That's why we take so many pictures, so that we can remember the good times. But if you don't go back and remember them, what was the point? So I encourage you to do this today. Fire up your phone, get a Google Doc in there, and start with your comic books. If you can think of a couple of stories right now, go ahead and throw them in there. I'll share some more stories from my kids' comic books to give you some ideas. But as you are creating these, just start writing down some of the memories that you have. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed with the formatting or the dates or anything like that. Keep it super simple so that you can start right now and you can enjoy it as often and as frequently as you want. So here's another one. I forgot about this. This was things that your kids do when you're little that you won't remember, that you think you'll remember, but you won't. Every time when my baby was 7 months old, if we would tell him to give us a thumbs up, oh no, sorry, that was 17 months old. If we told him to give us a thumbs up, he'd go like this. And he'd stick his tongue out. It was hilarious. And that is just a memory that I love now. Like, that made me give a real laugh. That boosts my mood. That boosts my hormones of my happy hormones that bring me a little bit of joy and gladness in my life. Just simple little things like that. How long did that take? That was like a 3-second exercise for me to read that sentence and then give a laugh. And that's a boost in my mood. That's a boost in my day. This is absolutely worth your time. Let's hit another one. Okay, so my son, I forgot about this one too. We called him Car Pockets for a while because when he was little, he loved little toy cars, and he would put them in all his pockets all the time. And he would always have cars on him 100% of the time. And every time we'd pick him up out of his car seat, cars would just fall out. Or every time we would take his coat off of him when we got home, cars would fall out. So we called him Car Pockets. And one day we were at church, and we lifted him up to take him to class, and like 15 cars fell out of his pockets. He had his church pants pockets, and he had his coat pockets and all of these other pockets, and there were 15 cars on this kid. It was hilarious. Simple memories like that, silly things that maybe that story is not funny to you, but it's funny to me because it meant something to me. Again, happiness is personalized. These are all, it's like an entire book of inside jokes for you and whoever you're sharing the book with. Again, these can be super simple or super complicated. If you are a scrapbooker, maybe you're a digital scrapbooker and you want to turn these into pages where you add pictures and you do all that fun stuff, go for it. This is totally up to you. There's a million different ways to do these things, but I encourage you to do it your way. I'm a words person, and so for me, all I need are the words. The words create the vivid images in my mind, and that's all I need to re-experience that joy and that humor. The power of humor is so far-reaching. Let's just sit on that for a minute. Why does a laugh have such an effect on your body? They say that laughter is the best medicine. Why? Because what laughter does is it creates motion in places where often you are still. So the very, very bottom half of your lung, or the bottom third of your lungs, usually we don't get into that piece unless we are exercising or doing something that's making us breathe really hard. But another way to circumvent that programming of your lungs is to laugh. Your laugh, if you do a solid belly laugh, your laugh will release that air from the very bottom of your lungs and bring in new, fresh, clean air. Do you know what the power of fresh, clean oxygen is? Being able to produce even better stuff for your body. It's like a really good, healthy nutrition choice for your muscles and your blood and all of your insides. That it comes from just a laugh. One laugh can make such a difference in your lung capacity and what is flowing in your veins. The other way that it helps you is it puts a smile on your face. Sometimes we don't exercise our face muscles as often as we could because we are unaware, we're unconscious of what we're doing with our face. It sounds silly and it seems weird to think about, but how often is your face just at rest? Probably like 80% of your day. Even when you're talking, your face is just at rest, unless you're talking about something funny that makes you smile. Do you see the difference? So when I'm talking regular, There's, the bottom half of my mouth. That's all the muscles that are working. But when I'm smiling, it goes all the way up here into my forehead. So these are extra work. This is extra flow. This is extra change in your physiological body when you're smiling or when you're laughing. And then let's go back to the internal. When you are laughing, you are increasing your oxygen flow, like I already talked about. And one place that flows oxygen really incredibly so is your brain. Your brain has to have amazing amounts of oxygen pumped through it every single day. And so by giving it fresh oxygen, you are really repowering and up-leveling your capacity to think clearly, to see the future, to be able to plan ahead. Those kinds of things that sometimes get a little bit foggy. They talk about that brain fog. Laughter is a great medicine for brain fog. And just simply laughing can make such a difference in the way that you are able to function physiologically. And now let's talk about mentally. Let's talk about how a couple of weeks ago, we talked about combating seasonal depression. And I talked about the power of hormones and how you can use those hormones to motivate yourself from within and how that will make a big difference for you. Those hormones, those same ones, your oxytocin, your serotonin, dopamine, and your endorphins, those are all affected by laughter and smiling. When you hear a funny story and you laugh, you release dopamine. When you release dopamine, serotonin then comes into play and helps you to keep that flow going. And as you pay attention to that and you're consciously aware of why you're laughing and that you're laughing, and you remember that and you store it away, that wakes up your oxytocin and your endorphins. So then that uses that to stay with you. Instead of just experiencing your laugh once, you now have it logged away so that you can experience it a second time. Do you ever quote your favorite movie? Of course you do. We all do. Do you ever quote a funny thing that you said or that someone else said and you tease them about it later? And it causes a laugh for the whole group. That is because you used those happy hormones in your mind to store those things in a place that matters. And you're able to recall that storage later and use it to reproduce that same feeling of joy and fun. That is the goal. That is the key to making fun and making laughter a habit. It's no longer just something that happens to you. Sometimes somebody makes us laugh, right? Now you can make yourself laugh. You can make yourself have wonderful memories and enjoy these moments with your family, with your kids, and with yourself. These are my favorite way to journal. These are powerful ways to create memories, to create happiness, to create joy from something you've already experienced. And it's also a powerful way to eliminate guilt and shame and pain in that, there's certain things that you want to do with your kids. There's certain memories you want to make. But if you can't make that happen today, it's okay. Use the memories you already have. Do you feel the power in that statement? Use the memories you already have to boost your joy in the future. You can use the past to experience joy in the present and the future. It's absolutely fascinating and it can be so incredibly simple. I've said it 5 different times, do it your way. If you're thinking, oh, Google document on my phone doesn't sound like me, then find another way to do it. Maybe you have a journal. Maybe you have a book that you physically want to write it in. Keep it in your car, keep it in your purse, keep it somewhere that you can frequently get to it and write in it, add to it a lot, and then use it to read it out loud to yourself. Maybe this is your journal that you read before you go to sleep so that you can go to bed with a great mood. Maybe this is the first thing you read when you wake up in the morning so that you start your day with a little bit of joy. Again, there are a million ways to do this. Do it your way. Figure out what works for you and start today. That's always going to be my top habit tip, is to start today. When people say, what's the fastest way to lose weight? I say, start right now. When people say, what's the best journaling habit? To start today. These are all simple things that you can do. I encourage you to make whatever you want in your life. See the dream, see the vision, and then learn how to make it small enough that you can do it every day. If you want something big, something grand, something great, awesome. Chase that dream by taking tiny little habitual steps every single day to make that a reality in your life. Taking tiny little daily steps and making little bitty progress will make massive change in your future. I encourage you to live in your present, to see what you are doing, to embrace the good moments and use those to not only experience fun and joy and happiness now, but to use that to improve yourself and your life and your happiness and joy in the future. It's absolutely fascinating how the past, the present, and the future are all connected in good memories. So I encourage you to do this, to start today. Take those pictures, to re-watch, go back and look at those pictures. Go back and talk to your kids about fun memories that you've already experienced, and see as your physiological response, your mental response, and your relationship response is such a positive experience by reliving a good moment. You took the time to do it the first time. Now revisit it and embrace the benefits of round two. It's absolutely fascinating what you can get out of this simple habit. Speaking of habits, I talk about habits all the time, and you can see my logo over here for Habits, Health, and Happiness. That's also the title of this show. I have a coaching program that I help people to master their habits so that you can experience things like this every single day. Sometimes when we talk about habits, it feels really grand and it feels really big and it feels complicated. So I try to help you simplify the process. My habit formation system is just 3 easy steps, 1, 2, 3. And I want to help you to be able to overcome the overwhelm. Most of us are crazy busy and we do a lot because we can. It's amazing what you are capable of. But to help you to really harness your power, you just have to take what you already have within you. You only need 2 things to form habits: your conscious and subconscious mind. Good news, you already have everything you need to succeed. Now we just have to learn to harness those things so that it benefits you in the best, most efficient, most effective possible way, and so that it lasts long term. That's a huge thing that is missing in the world today, in fitness, in health, in habits, in everything else, is that it's so focused on the short term. But if we can make it simple, if we can make it small, then we can make it keep going. If you start a habit today that feels really, really difficult, then make it smaller. If you start something today that feels like, oh, I don't know if I want to keep going, if I can keep going, what can you shift in that mindset to make it a little bit easier? Here's an example. For a lot of my clients, waking up in the morning and starting a workout is hard. That's true. If you have to wake up and your first thought is, I have to go work out right now, sometimes that is a barrier. Sometimes that keeps you from doing what you want. You know you want that workout. You know you want the benefits from that workout. But the issue is that it feels too big. So start smaller. I don't need to work out right now. I just need to sit up. I don't need to work out right now. I just need to get out of bed. I just need to wake up. Once you're standing, you have the ball rolling. And then you're like, okay, well, I did that. Now what else can I do? I can put on my shoes. I can put on my running clothes. That breaks down the barriers and keeps it even smaller, even simpler. That's the very first thought I have in the morning. I'm a personal trainer and I do this for a living, but the very first thought I have in the morning is, I don't need to work out yet. I just need to sit up. So as soon as you sit up, all of a sudden you have the confidence you need to know, okay, if I can do that, then I can do this. And you motivate yourself from within. That's the power of habits. If you would like to jump in this program with us, head to livelifeconscious.com and click on coaching at the top of the page. That is our Habits, Health, and Happiness program that we're going to help you master your habits in your physical health and your next top priority. I encourage you to join us in this program. It's absolutely incredible the results people are getting in just 4 short months. We set you up with all the tools and all the knowledge that you need to succeed, both right now and in the future. Remember, I keep talking about those lifelong changes and those lifelong benefits and results. That's what this program is all about. And that's what I want you to get out of Habits, Health, and Happiness. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you next week. Enjoy your week and make it something great. And remember, start small and start today.